Hello everyone and welcome back to Clothier Field for game number 2 in our 2-game afternoon set on the Garnet Sports Network. Matt Fine along with you as Swarthmore looking for the Saturday sweep here to open up the Centennial Conference. Final score of 11-8 in game 1 with Swarthmore picking up the win. And we'll take you through game number 2 as we are underway. Offensively, for Washington College, it is exactly the same as they started off game number 1. Cale McGill will lead off. Chris Baker, number 2. Danny Sheeler, number 3. Max Ruvo will do cleanup work and play left field. Joe Curtin, the third baseman, batting 5th. Jack Kingman will designate hit in the 6th spot. Eric Rizenchak, the second baseman, at number 7. C.J. Gilmer, followed by Ryan Colbert. Bouncer to the right side. And one up and one down goes McGill. And in comes Chris Baker. Defensively for Swarthmore, number 36, Alex Schessler, is on the mound. Behind him, in the infield at third is Luke Mutz. The shortstop, Max Rothwarg, Nate Jabara at second. Matt Silvestri playing first. This one right up the middle. And our first hit here in game number 2 belongs to Baker. Austin Burgess in left field, Kirk Tirada Herzer in center, and Paul Cook in right. Behind the plate, number 5, Andrew Olsen. And again, for Schessler, .50 ERA, 2-1 on the year. His 8th appearance, his 5th start. 18 innings pitched. He's given up 13 earned runs. One of his goals today will keep the walks down. He has 16 walks this season in 18 innings, compared to just 12 strikeouts. Inside out and into left field goes Sheeler. So a couple of early singles here after that ground out by McGill. In steps Ruvo, who was 1 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI in game number 1. The pitch, 6, 4, 3. And Swarthmore gets out of the jam in the top of the first as Ruvo bounces into the double play. No runs, a couple of hits, nobody left. We move to the bottom of the first. Swarthmore coming to bat. We are back bottom of the first. Swarthmore coming to bat for the first time here in game number 2. The starting lineup for Coach Midkiff, same in game 1 as it is in game number 2. Tirada Herzer will lead off, followed by Luke Mutz, Austin Burgess, Mike Seppi will be your designated hitter and cleanup spot with Matt Silvestri at number 5, Nate Jabara, number 6, Paul Cook, the right fielder in the 7 hole, Andrew Olsen, and Max Rothwar, the shortstop, round out the 9. On the mound for the Shoremen is the freshman, Joe Morrissey. He's having an excellent year, his 7th start. He is 4-1 on the year in his first 6 starts. In 34 innings pitched, he's given up just 6 earned runs. He has struck out 49 and walked 17. Let me say that again, 49 strikeouts in 34 innings pitched. As that one's popped up to Rizenchalk at second base. Here comes Luke Mutz, one of the offensive stars in game 1 for Swarthmore. Mutz was 3 for 3 and he walked twice, so he reached 5 times, picked up a couple of runs. Jordan got the win in game number 1, his first of the year, in just a third of an inning's work. That's what happens when you pick up the lead late in the game. Benzowitz gets the loss for Washington College. He falls to 0-2. This one's bounced over to the shortstop spot, just out at first base. A bang-bang play. Mutz with his speed makes everything interesting. And for the first time today, Mutz is retired. The star on the mound, though, of course, Jordan getting the win, but Berry was just excellent on the mound. Ed Berry, 7 1/3. As that ball's hit hard to left field, back and up against the fence as Burgess flies out to Ruvo. And that will do it for Swarthmore here in the bottom of the first. We'll come back and start talking about a wrap-up with game number 1 on the other side. But after 1, no score from Clothier. Top of the second, 5, 6, and 7 coming to the plate. Joe Curtin will lead things off, followed by Kingman and Rizenchalk in a scoreless game. Getting back to some highlights from game number 1. Can't talk about game number 1 without talking about Berry. Pitched 7 1/3 innings. First pitch swinging and into right field. So Curtin is aboard. Berry did give up 5 earned runs, but he went real deep enough to get that, at least to get Swarthmore in a position to win the game. 4 strikeouts, 109 pitches. Walked just 1. So Berry put Swarthmore in a position to win. The Garnet did win that game, and it was a big one to lead off the conference play with a win. But they have more work to do here with number 5 up. Jack Kingman. Kingman 0 for 5 in game number 1. Still looking for hit number 1 today, and he gets it right up the middle. So just like inning number 1, the Shoremen have a couple of base runners thanks to a couple of singles. Risenchuk steps in. The second baseman was 1 for 3 in game number 1 with a run scored and an RBI. Also walked. Schessler gave up a couple of hits in inning number 1, but got bailed out on a double play, 6-4-3 to end the first. He's in a little bit of a jam here as well. Already 4 hits on the board for Washington College. We'll go back-to-back 9-inning games here to lead off conference play 2022. This is an opportunity for Schessler in game number 2. Coach Midkiff still looking for that number 2 starter. He's got his number 1 starter in Berry, but doesn't quite have that number 2 yet. Down the first for out number 1. It does advance the runners, so 2 runners now move in the scoring position on the sac bunt.
Now batting number 7, C.J. Gilmer.
So Curtin stands at third, Kingman now at second, and C.J. Gilmer is at the plate, the shortstop. Gilmer 1 for 3 in game number 1 with an RBI. Fastball outside for a ball. Pitch just missing up. 2 balls and no strikes. With that win in game number 1, Swarthmore moving to 8-13 this season. Again, 1-0 in the Centennial. Washington College falling to 14-8 on the year. This one bounced foul. Two balls and 1 strike. 3 balls and 1 strike now. Got the open base at first with runners at second and third. Schessler trying to work out of a jam here again in the second inning. The 3-1. It's a good pitch, low and inside, part of the zone for a 3-2 count. Everybody filing back in here at Clothier. Real nice crowd on hand for both sides. The school's colors are very similar, by the way. So it's hard to tell sometimes who is who, from at least from when you're looking at it from the back. This one off the hands. And that works in favor of Swarthmore right there. As obviously no one able to advance as Jabara squeezes for out number 2. 2 away now, still 2 runners in scoring position. And the 9-hole hitter comes up, Ryan Colbert. Colbert hitless in game number 1, 0 for 3. He was lifted for a pinch hitter, an Iceman. And Iceman had a single, 2 RBI single that at the time gave Washington College the lead, but the lead was short-lived as Swarthmore came right back in the bottom half of the inning, took the lead, and won the game. Two balls and no strikes to Colbert. This one goes straight back. Beautiful afternoon for baseball. We've got plenty of it. 18 innings worth. Gone through 9+ after game number 1. Got some fans out past the left field wall. On the 2-1, count goes even. Beautiful facility here on the campus of Swarthmore College. Big pitch on the 2-2. Lifted to right field. On the edge of fair territory is Cook for out number 3. For a second straight inning, Washington College puts 2 on the base path, but neither come around to score. We move to the bottom of the second inning. Swarthmore coming to bat in a scoreless game. We are back bottom 2. Number 45, Mike Seppi steps in. Seppi 0 for 4 in game number 1. We'll see Seppi, Silvestri, and Jabara. Already 4 hits for the Shoremen, but no runs to speak of. Swarthmore looking for hit number 1. Morrissey, a freshman from Morristown, New Jersey, the pitcher for Washington College. And he's been a stud for them. Earlier this season, won a National Rookie of the Week award as a pitcher in a game versus Albright. In 7 innings, he struck out 14. Those 7 innings all shutout. Did the same thing against Stevenson as well with 7 shutout innings. He'll throw in the upper 80s, maybe touch 90s. A little bit cool out today. We'll see how fast his fastball really is. He's got the breaking ball and a curve as well. This one's sky to left field. Ruvo there, and that is out number 1. In steps Matt Silvestri, the first baseman. Silvestri 1 for 3, but that one was a big one as he picked up 3 RBIs on a double in game number 1. Walked a couple of times as well. This one stays foul. The 0-2. Did he go? He did not. Lays off the high fastball. That one gets away. Strike number 3, but on the wild pitch, he'll head down to first base.
Now batting number 14, Nate Jabara.
First base runner here in game number 2. So the wild pitch gives the Garnet a base runner for Nate Jabara. Jabbar also 3 RBIs in game number 1, including a hit, scored a run, walked. Silvestri with a couple of stolen bases on the year. Bad throw will go towards right field, and down the second base goes Silvestri. A lot of room over there, by the way. A runner now in scoring position. 0-2 count with 1 out for Jabara. Big swing and a miss.
Now batting number 1, Paul Cook.
So that is out number 2. Back-to-back strikeouts, of course. Silvestri still was able to scamper down the first on the wild pitch. But that is strikeout number 2 so far this afternoon for Morrissey. Here comes Paul Cook. Cook had a single hit in game number 1. This one's deep to right field. Back at the fence, and gone! That one just would not come down. The first hit of the afternoon here in game number 2 is a long one, as 2 come across on Paul Cook's home run to right field. Silvestri scores in front of him, and a 2-0 lead for the Garnet, and that ball just kept going. You saw Baker go back, and back, but he ran out of room. Home run number 2 on the year for Paul Cook. This brings up Andrew Olsen. Just that one hit, but a couple of runs. As the wild pitch that allowed Silvestri to get on base really hurts. Olsen 0 for 4 in game number 1. This one in shallow right this time, and Baker is there for the 3rd out. But some damage done in the bottom of the 2nd thanks to a long ball by Cook. 2 runs come across on 1 hit, nobody left. We have played 2. The Garnet up 2-0. Welcome back to the top of the 3rd. We got ourselves a new pitcher. Kyle Jones-Shaw is in for Schessler. Number 27, a senior right-handed pitcher from Illinois. Shaw with a 5.14 ERA. This is his 9th appearance. He did pitch on Tuesday. He was the only pitcher on Tuesday for Swarthmore in that game against Arcadia that pitched more than an inning. He pitched 2 innings and pitched well. Didn't give up any runs. Did walk a couple and struck out 1. And that's what you're going to see today from Coach Midkiff. He's really going to piecemeal his pitching staff together in game number 2. He's looking for someone to step up. It's been a struggle for his team so far this year. And he gets the top of the order, does Jones-Shaw. This is Cale McGill in his 2nd at bat, grounded out to the 2nd baseman in the 1st inning. A 2-0 ball game. This one blasted to center field, but right at Tirada Herzer for out number 1.
Now batting number 21, Chris Baker.
The Shoreman able to put some pressure on Swarthmore in innings 1 and 2. A couple of base runners in each of those first 2 innings, but Chesler was able to get out of the jam both times. And now he hands the ball over to Jones Shaw. Baker was one of those guys that picked up a hit. He singled in his first at bat to center field. Stranded at second base back in the first. Update you on some scores from around the Centennial. Again, opening day in the conference. Franklin and Marshall doubled up McDaniel 6-3. Dickinson passed Haverford on the road 3-1. Gettysburg by 1 on the road again over Muhlenberg 6-5. You know the score from Swarthmore, Clothier Field 11-8. The Garnet beating Washington College. Again, no information from Johns Hopkins against your sinus. Just looking at the weather here, my guess is the weather's not much different in Baltimore, but we have no live stats to tell you about.
14-2 Hopkins.
Oh, now it's just told 14-2 Hopkins. See, I have people looking in everywhere for me. So Hopkins all over your sinus 14-2. I have my spies. That's what it comes down to, right? So everybody's moving into game number 2. And there's no score in any of the games in game number 2 except for right here, Clothier. All the games pretty much in the first or second innings. Look in, strike number 3. Baker goes down with a backwards K in the scorebook. And 2 away for Sheeler. First strikeout of game number 2 for either pitcher for the Garnet. The sidewinder comes in with strike number 1 to Sheeler, who also singled in his first at bat in the first inning. Outfield shifting a little bit here at the last second. I saw Tirada Herzer was on the left side of second base as we watch it from home plate, and now he is a little bit on the right side of second base. He basically went to his left by a good 20 feet, and now Burgess doing the same thing in left field as well. So they're playing Sheeler to pull. That is a great location for 0-2. You generally don't get the benefit of the doubt on 0-2. The pitcher at least doesn't get it. And that ball was borderline. So here comes the 1-2. This one well outside, though, and the count goes even. Stands are full of Clothier. Look over the left field fence. You got a lot of students up there. Many more here in game number 2 than we saw in game number 1 as the afternoon wears on. My guess on a Saturday, they all just woke up. The 1-2 off the hands and picked out of the dirt by Silvestri for out number 3. The first 1-2-3 here in game number 2. As we move to the bottom of the third, still 2-0 in favor of Swarthmore. We are back in the bottom of the third inning. Swarthmore with a 2-0 lead after winning game number 1.
19. Next, Swarthmore.
We will see numbers 9, 1, and 2. We have a defensive substitution in left field for Washington College as well, dating back to the last inning. Brandon Hoffman comes in for Ruvo. Rothwark shows bunt, pulls back. Pulls back again, but takes a strike this time around. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rothwark had all sorts of issues on the bases last game, but did come up with that clutch hit late in the game. Officially, Rothwark was 2 for 2 with 2 runs and an RBI in game number 1. He got picked off twice, though. That was the only downside to Rothwark in game number 1. What are you going to do with freshmen, right? That's why he's learning. I'm sure they had a talk with him after the game, even though both were bang plays. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. This one hit poorly enough to get a runner at first base. It looks good in the scorebook, doesn't it? Rothwark can run. Anything harder would have been scooped up by Curtin. But sometimes when you top a ball and it goes about 30 or 40 feet down the third base line, it's a glorified bunt and an infield base hit. A leadoff base runner as we go back to the top of the order for Tirada Herzer. Showing bunt early. Pulls back. See number 13 crashing from third. With Sheeler keeping the base runner on at first, it's going to force Morrissey to come off the mound with anything that comes down the first base side. And then you have Colbert back there with anything that doesn't go far enough away from the catching circle that he is in. The 1-0. And they said he offered there, so the count goes 1 ball and 1 strike. Scoring up the bunt one more time. This time he pulls back early and takes a pitch inside a fastball, a little tight. Bunt just goes foul, so the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2. That pitch finds the inside part of the plate, and Tirada Herzer goes down looking for out number 1. So the leadoff hitter for Swarthmore unable to move the runner. Strikeout number 3 for Morrissey. And here comes Luke Mutz. This one to left field. It's going to drop in fair territory all the way to the wall. Runner coming around third, held up, and safe back at third. Interesting play at third base as Mutz comes in standing at second. I never really saw Coach Booth hold him up. I'm not sure what he was saying to him. He might have said something to him, but I didn't see any hand gestures that held Rothwarg up. And at the last second, Rothwarg stopped, had to turn around, and put himself in a bad spot, but was able to get back into third base. I think they're going to say there was no tag on third. The ball was there before Rothwarg got to third base, but I think he avoided the tag. Beddick still wants to have a conversation about this. As it stands right now, runners at second and third on the double from Mutz. And now they're warning Beddick, and Beddick's hot. We'll see if he gets tossed, and he does. It didn't take long in conference play for the head coach to get tossed, and Beddick is now done for the day. He got the warning, and that got him even hotter, and then he gets tossed. So the skipper for Washington College is going to hit the showers early here in game number 2. Doesn't change the situation with runners at second and third. Beddick still has a lot to say. He's giving his scorecard to his assistant coaches, and he'll take a walk. It's almost like he was looking to get tossed. He was just hot from the start. He was standing right on the first base line. The umpires wanted to have nothing to do with the conversation. He wanted to continue it. And now he is gone for the day. And where that leaves us, it leaves us with Austin Burgess, first pitch swinging, with a couple of runners in scoring position and just the one out on the strikeout from Terada Herzer. This one popped up. Shallow left field. I don't think anybody sees it at the last second. I take that back as Hoffman saw it. I was looking more at Gilmer, but Hoffman had it the entire way. Much too shallow to score anybody from third in Rothwarg. And here is Seppi. The sun can get interesting at this time of the day for the left fielder in particular. This one hit hard to left field. Ranging over at the foul line is Hoffman for out number 3. Swarthmore strands a couple of runners in scoring position in the bottom of the third. As Morrissey gets out of the jam, we have played 3. It's still 2-0 in favor of the Garnet. We are back with a 2-0 score. Moving to the top of the 4th, numbers 4, 5, and 6. Batting for the Shoremen. They're down a head coach after Coach Beddick tossed in the bottom of the third. This is number 8, Brandon Hoffman, who came in to replace Max Ruvo in left field. Hoffman batting .295 this season. 13 hits in his 44 at-bats. Tops one. An easy out, number 1, Jabbar to Silvestri.
Now batting number 13, Joe Curtin.
Joe Curtin, the number 5 hitter. 1 for 1 today. Jones-Shaw in his second inning of relief for Schessler, who pitched the first 2 innings. Schessler gave up a bunch of base runners, but no runs to speak of. There's strike number 2. Olsen catching a couple of really nice games today. He was a wall in game 1. And so far in game number 2, he's really doing a number back there. This one reaching out, a bloop to center. But Terada Herzer on his horse had that one all the way. Got a great jump on that from center field as that one was off the end of the bat from Curtin. Off the bat, I thought that was trouble. It turns into out number 2. Here comes Jack Kingman, also a single on the day. This one bounced into the dirt. 1, 3, and that is out number 3. 6 up and 6 down since Jones-Shaw has come into the game. We move to the bottom of the 4th, still 2-0 in favor of the Garnet. Welcome back. Bottom of the 4th, Matt Fine on the Garnet Sports Network in a 2-0 ball game. Swarthmore looking for the Saturday sweep to open up conference play. Silvestri, Jabbar, and Cook facing Joe Morrissey, who's thrown one bad pitch, and the bad pitch Paul Cook took over the wall in right field. This one hard hit, but right at Baker in right for out number 1. Here's number 14, Nate Jabara.
Now batting number 14, Nate Jabara.
One of 3 strikeout victims so far today from Morrissey. Hard hit ball, but right at Gilmer. So a couple of hard hit balls, but right at the fielders. 6-3 on the put out. 2 quick outs here in the 4th.
Paul Cook.
Here's Paul Cook. He had the big one in the second inning. A towering home run. It was up there forever as it went over the right field fence for a 2-run home run that also scored Silvestri. Three quick pitches and 3 quick outs overall here in the bottom of the fourth. 1, 2, 3 goes the Garnet. We've played 4. Swarthmore, though, still leading this game 2-0. Welcome back to the top of the fifth. Matt Fine on the Garnet Sports Network. Game number 2. A 2-0 score. No runs on 4 hits, no errors for the visitors. For Swarthmore, 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors. In case you missed game number 1, 11-8 in favor of the Garnet. Moving Swarthmore to 1-0 in the Centennial. We'll see Rizenchuk, Gilmer, and Colbert. 7, 8, and 9 in the top of the fifth for the Shoremen. Jones Shaw in his 3rd inning of relief. He is perfect through his first 2 innings, 6 up and 6 down. Right at the knees for strike number 2. Opening up conference play this week across the board in the Centennial. A couple of games here against Washington College. Up next, Swarthmore will be home again. The final game in an 8-game homestand. This is games number 6 and 7 today in this 8-game homestand that they have against Washington College today. But they welcome Johns Hopkins on Tuesday. And then they'll head to Baltimore to play Johns Hopkins on Friday. This one's popped up. Shallow right field. And right at the foul line is Cook for out number 1. And it's basically, as C.J. Gilmer comes to the plate, that's basically how the Centennial works in general. They'll play a couple on Saturday against the same team, a doubleheader, and then they'll play a home and home against another team Tuesday and Friday. That's what you get Hopkins against Swarthmore. They'll be home against Hopkins on Tuesday, on the road at Hopkins on Friday, and then another doubleheader on Saturday against a whole new opponent, and that will be Gettysburg. So a couple of games here against Washington College, then splitting with Johns Hopkins, then right back here a week from today with 2 against Gettysburg. For a team trying to get healthy, as Swarthmore is, as they've struggled in their non-conference play. 5 of their first 6 conference games are home, so it gives them a chance to feel good here at Clothier. Of course, they're going to have their hands full with Johns Hopkins on Tuesday and Friday, but at least they'll be close to home as they try to battle through the early parts of this conference schedule. Hopkins, of course, the preseason favorites to win the Centennial again. Last season, only one team, there was no playoffs because of COVID. The team with the best conference record just moved right into the NCAA tournament, the regionals, and that was Hopkins. But this season, Hopkins is the preseason pick to finish first, followed by Franklin and Marshall, and right behind Franklin and Marshall by 1 point is Swarthmore, and then Washington College. So when you look at the top 4 teams make the playoffs in the Centennial, the 2 teams that are on the field here today both feel that, at least when you look at the preseason poll, that they're good enough to make it. So these are big, big games. One of the questions for Swarthmore, does it have the pitching to get it done? A 3-2 count to Gilmer. And that is ball number 4 to number 7. The first blemish of the afternoon for Jones Shaw. Before this walk to Gilmer, he had seen 7 and retired all 7. This brings up the 9-hitter in Colbert. Ryan Colbert popped up in foul territory on the right side. Pitch just missing low, fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. For Washington College, when you look at their schedule, they have Haverford next with a couple of games. They'll be home against Haverford College on Tuesday, and then they'll travel there on Friday. They do have a non-conference game against Newman on Wednesday the 6th, kind of smushed in between those two. But when you talk about the Centennial, their next 2 is a home and home against Haverford. Then they're home on the 9th for a doubleheader against your Sinus. Two balls and no strikes. This one, a lot of air under it to center field. Gerardo Herzer there for the second out of this inning. We'll go back to the top of the order for Cale McGill. And we have a timeout here. And we're going to have a pitching change. Looks like he's going to take the right-hander out for a better matchup against the top of the order. And a standing ovation, and well-deserved, for Jones Shaw, as he faced 9 batters and he retired 8. We'll take a quick break and reset with a new pitcher on the other side, 2-0 in favor of Swarthmore. We are back, top of the 5th. 2 outs with a runner on and a new pitcher. This is number 20, Zach Camp, a senior right-hander from Georgia, Smyrna, Georgia. Camp, his 9th appearance this season, a 9.62 ERA, 0-2 on the year. He's trying to bounce back from a rough outing on Tuesday against Arcadia, where he picked up the loss. First pitch down the second, and that will do it. 1 pitch and an out, as Gilmer is pegged at second base on the nice throw from Olsen. And that will do it for Washington College here in the top of the 5th. No runs, no hits, nobody left. We move to the bottom of the 5th. Still 2-0 in favor of the Garnet.
Now batting number 5, Andrew Olsen.
Halfway through game number 2 here on the campus of Swarthmore at Clothier Field. Matt Fine on the Garnet Sports Network. Swarthmore looking for a little bit of breathing room in this one. Up 2-0. No runs, 4 hits, no errors for Washington College. 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for Swarthmore. We have 8, 9, and 1. And that ball's hit hard by Olsen and gone over the wall in left field. Another long ball. We saw one earlier from Cook. We see one here from Olsen. And there is some of the extra runs you're looking for, as that makes it 3-0. An insurance run as we're in the middle innings of game number 2. For Olsen, his first home run of the season for number 5. Couple of long balls here. One over the left field fence from Olsen, one over the right field fence from Cook. And all the damage coming from the 7 and 8 hitters in this lineup here in game number 2. So it's feast or famine for Morrissey. It's given up just 3 hits, but 2 of them have been over the fence. Here's Rothwarg, who singled, stranded at third, back in the 3rd inning. Strike 3 and down the first he goes, and that is out number 1.
Now batting number 11, Tarada Herzer.
We go back to the top of the order. Tarada Herzer. Just a completely different feel from this Swarthmore team today. Just watching between innings, jumping up and down, getting in huddles. Very animated today, something you didn't see much of on Tuesday. Tuesday's marathon against Arcadia was a little bit like pulling teeth, a game that went 4+ hours. We saw 18 pitchers, 29 runs, 29 hits. The game was called because it was dark. It was absolutely freezing. It was just a tough place to be on Tuesday at this field. But so far today, a little bit like night and day for Swarthmore, as they have the energy right now. They already won game 1, and they're leading here in game number 2.
Now batting number 7, Luke Mutz.
So with 2 outs, bottom of the 5th, Luke Mutz comes in. 6 strikeouts for Morrissey here into the 5th inning. Mutz 1 for 2, doubled to left field in his second at bat. Grounded out to short in his first at bat, and that was the first time he had been retired today. He was 5 for 5 in terms of his on base percentage in game number 1. He had 3 hits and a couple of walks. So today, so far, if you combine the 2 games, his on base percentage, he is 6 for 7. Ain't too shabby. The 2-0 in the dirt. Swinging on 3-0 is Mutz. Surprised to see him swing there. For a guy who runs like him and has an eye like he does, you would think just get him on first. But it doesn't matter anyway. 1 pitch later, it's in the dirt. So just extended the at-bat by 1 pitch, and still he goes down to first. So walk number 3 today if you combine the 2 games for Mutz. And we'll see if he tries to pick up base number 2. We have Austin Burgess at the plate. Morrissey works real fast, and he changes up his delivery to keep the runner off balance a little bit at first base. Makes it a little bit difficult to guess. Secondary by Mutz. He stays put, though. And the 2 balls, no strikes. That changes things a little bit now, as Burgess is ahead of the count. So you don't want to take the bat out of Burgess' hands with a possible caught stealing. The 2-0 inside. Your 3-0 taken all the way over for a called strike. Morrissey with 1 walk today. And that's to Mutz just now. So he'd gone through the first 4 innings with no walks. There goes the runner. That ball on a hit and run hit a ton, but foul. Possibly taking a car out in the parking lot on the left side of the field. Three balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. So Mutz will be running on the pitch here. There he goes. Swing and a miss. And that is out number 3. So 3 strikeouts in the 5th inning from Morrissey with the 1 walk, but the bomb from Olsen adds 1 run here in the bottom of the 5th. We have a 3-0 ball game after 5 here at Clothier. We are back in the top of the 6th inning. Matt Fine with you on the Garnet Sports Network. We've got a good one here. Lots of defense, clean on both sides. No errors to speak of for either team here in game number 2. 8 hits between the two of them, but the only 3 runs that have been scored all by Swarthmore. As we are back to the top of the order for the Shoremen. This is Cale McGill. Camp, the 3rd pitcher, in relief of Jones Shaw. Hard hit ball, and takes a wicked bad bounce over the head of Rothwarg into left field. Nothing he could do there. A leadoff base runner.
Now batting number 21, Chris Baker.
Chris Baker steps in. Around the Centennial, these are games 2 in doubleheaders across the conference. In the bottom of the 4th, Franklin and Marshall doubling up McDaniels 4-2. Haverford looking to split the day with Dickinson up 5-3, also in the 4th. Muhlenberg doubling up Gettysburg in the bottom of the 4th, 6-3. We have the game here as well. Swarthmore over Washington College, 3-0. Chris Baker, 1 for 2 today. In game number 2, singled in the 1st, struck out looking in the 3rd. The runner-up in the 2021 voting for Conference Player of the Year. The 2-1. That one finds the outside part of the plate. And we're all evened at 2 balls and 2 strikes. In case you're joining us late here in game number 2, Corey Beddick, the head coach for Washington College. He was tossed earlier in the game, arguing a play. All 3 runs scored here in game number 2 are off home runs. We saw a 2-run shot by Paul Cook in the 2nd inning. A solo shot from Olsen in the 5th inning. The 3-2 high for a ball. So a couple of base runners. An unfortunate single that took a bad hop and went over the head of Rothwarg off the bat of McGill, and then a walk to Baker. Here's Danny Sheeler. 1 for 2 today. Starts off with a strike. Some big moments here in this game. In the top of the 6th, you got the top of the order. A couple of base runners on, nobody out. Hard hit ball. Looking for the lead runner, gets it over to first, no. But nice play by Jabbar. I was surprised that he actually, with that ball being hit pretty soft, he went over to Rothwarg, but did get Baker at 2nd on the fielder's choice. So Sheeler ends up at 1st. We go 4-6 on the fielder's choice. Does move McGill over to 3rd as well. So runners at the corners now, but 1 out. Hard hit ball up the middle. This will score a run. So first pitch swinging is Hoffman. He picks up his first hit, an RBI single. McGill scores.
Now batting number 13.
Washington College is on the board for the first time here in game number 1. Excuse me, on the board here in game number 2. So 1 run across in game number 2 makes it a 3-1 ball game. Joe Curtin steps in. Number 13, 1 for 2. Singled in the second inning, flew out to center field in the 4th. Tying run stands at first base with another runner at second. That's a good pitch. Took something off that and gets ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. The 0-2 hard hit to the left side. This gets through. They're waving him home. Here comes a throw. It'll be cut off. Another run comes in as Sheeler scores the second run of the afternoon in game number 2, and still runners at first and second, and still just 1 out. That's hit number 7.
Now batting number 5, Jack Kingman.
Here comes Jack Kingman. He's got a hit here in game number 2. And takes a first pitch strike. The 0-1, another swing and a miss. Camp has gotten ahead of the batters for the most part. He's there again. No balls and 2 strikes to the 6th hitter. This one right at second base, again going for the lead runner, over to first and gets him. That's an excellent double play just when they needed it. 4-6-3. Swarthmore gets out of the jam, but not before giving up a couple of runs. We move to the bottom of the 6th. The lead has been cut to 1. Swarthmore 3, Washington College 2. We're back in a tight game, bottom of the 6th, a 3-2 ball game now. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Washington College after scoring a couple in the top of the 6th. 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Garnet. They've done all their damage with long balls, a couple of home runs, one by Cook, another by Olsen. This is Seppi. We'll go to Silvestri and Jabara, 4, 5, and 6 here in the 6th. Off the end of the bat, Gilmer there. Gilmore over to Sheeler for out number 1.
Now batting number 23, Matt Silvestri.
Here's Matt Silvestri. Morrissey is just really pitching quickly, taking no time at all between pitches. Let's see if Swarthmore wants to slow him up a little bit at times. The second he gets the ball, he's right on the rubber. Silvestri scored that run on the 2-run home run by Cook. He struck out, but reached first base on the wild pitch. It's a fastball over for a called strike. I'll tell you, Morrissey does not look like a freshman standing up on that rubber. He's just powerful up there. 6 foot, Morristown, New Jersey. But he picks up a walk here.
Now batting number 14, Nate Jabara.
Here's Nate Jabara, his third at bat. Struck out in the second, grounded out in the fourth. With a base runner, it changes up the way Morrissey can pitch. Can't just hop on the rubber and go. He's got to pay attention to that runner at first base and has to change up his delivery a little bit, the timing. All of a sudden, the guy who's been pretty pinpoint all afternoon long is having a bit of a tough time trying to find that strike zone. Did pick up his first walk in the 5th inning, did Morrissey. And another one here in the 6th. And this is slowing Morrissey down. That's one of the reasons I was waiting to see something like that with Jabbar looking down at the third base box. Talking to Coach Booth a little bit, looking for a sign. Staying in the batter's box, but he's trying to slow down Morrissey a little bit. Here comes the 2-2. And that's some serious heat. And out number 3. Or excuse me, out number 2. Eight strikeouts so far this afternoon for Morrissey. Three times this year, Morrissey has pitched 7 innings. He also pitched 6 innings in another outing. This one's popped up on the left side. And that is Gilmer with out number 3. One base runner on a walk, but no runs to speak of as we have played 6. 3-2 in favor of Swarthmore. We are back top of the 7th with a new pitcher, Andrew Moy, the freshman, the right-hander from Manhasset, New York.
Now batting number 4, Eric Wisniewski.
Moy's 7th appearance so far this season, 0-1 on the year, a 13.06 ERA. His fastball is low for a ball. He's looking straight at numbers 7, 8, and 9 here in the 7th inning for the Shoreman. Shoreman got on the board in the top of the 6th with a couple of runs. This is Rizenchak, by the way. Gilmer next, Colbert after that. Oh for 2. Actually 0 for 1. He did pick up a sacrifice bunt in the 2nd inning, then flew out to right field in his 2nd at bat in the 5th. Beats that one foul. The 3-2 misses low and outside, and a leadoff base runner.
Now batting number 7, CJ Gilmer.
Here is CJ Gilmer. Oh for 1 in game number 2. Picked up a walk in the 5th. He was caught stealing. It's a veteran team, Washington College. 19 seniors, whether they're super seniors or regular seniors. There's been a handful of guys who stretched out their college career over 5 years, thanks to COVID, when they lost that 1 year. Down the 2nd on the wild pitch. It's Rizenchak. Some of the guys that came back for that extra year, Gilmer, Smith, and Gilmer's at the plate right now, so it's obvious how much this means to him. But Gilmer, Smith, who pitched in game number 1, Kingman, Benzowitz, Osgood, Brower, just to name some. There's others. All sorts of seniors, whether they're coming back for the 5th year or they're the more traditional seniors like you have from the Ruver brothers or Jonah Frankel, one of the pitchers on this team. This is a Washington College team that has not made the playoffs since 2012. And I know with the 19 seniors, Coach Beddick thinks that this team can make it. This team is good enough to make it into the postseason. Of course, starting off 0-2 today would put them up against the wall a little bit early on. So this game is a big one. They are trailing 3-2. Have that tying run at second base right now. Nobody out. Hard hit ball, but moving to his left. Nice scoop by the first baseman in Silvestri. That is out number 1. It does move the tying run to third base with 1 out.
Pinch hitting number 45, Noah Eisman.
And we have our pinch hitter, same one we saw in game number 1. In addition to that, we've got a pitching change. So as we get ready for Noah Eisman to pinch hit in the 9 spot, we'll welcome a new pitcher in here as we play in the top of the 7th. We'll take a break and come right back. 3-2 in favor of Swarthmore. We are back with a new pitcher, number 30, Owen Webb, a senior right-hander from Massachusetts. Webb, his 8th appearance, a 15.19 ERA. He's facing Noah Eisman. First pitch, and Eisman does exactly what he did in game number 1. He does it again here in game number 2 and picks up a big RBI single.
Now batting number 3, Cal McGill.
Eisman has come in and really produced as Rizenchuk comes in to tie the game at 3-3. Unlike game number 1, they pinch ran for Eisman, but he's staying in right now as we go back to the top. This is McGill. McGill 1 for 3. He singled in the 6th and scored. McGill came into today batting .393. This one popped up and out of play. Talked about some of the Washington College super seniors that came back. There's a couple for Swarthmore as well. There are 3 players in this team that played in 2018, a team that won the conference and went incredibly deep into the College World Series in that incredible run that they had when they were 38-11. They were 15-3 in conference, won the regional, made it to the Division III World Series, eventually losing to Texas Lutheran in 13 innings to be knocked out. But Seppi, Webb, Jacobson, all back They took that gap here in order to come back for one more shot here as that ball's looped into right field at the feet of Cook. And a great play by Cook. It was a tough play for Iceman. He had to hold up in case Cook caught that ball in the air. He didn't want to get doubled up. So in stopping between first and second, it allowed Cook to rip that ball over to second base to get Iceman the standard 9-6 put out and a fielder's choice for McGill, who's really robbed of a single. How often do you see a 9-6 put out? So if McGill is one hit away from a career high in hits at some point in his career here at Washington College, he can complain about that one. 2 outs, a runner at first, a runner is in. That tied up the ball game at 3-3. Two balls and one strike. 2 outs for Baker. One comes inside on him. So 3-1 is your count. Baker gets on. We'll see Sheeler. Here comes your 3-1. Bounce foul. Count goes full. Right off the foot. 3 balls, 2 strikes. McGill will be running on the pitch. Infield shading a little bit to the right, as is the outfield. Right at the second baseman. Nicely done by Jabara. Just got himself right in front of that ball. It was hit so hard, all he needed to do was knock it down, but he actually fielded it cleanly for out number 3. But a little bit more damage done as Washington College ties it up with a run here in the top of the 7th. We will stretch at Clothier, a 3-3 ball game. We are back, bottom 7, numbers 8, 9, back to 1 we will go. First pitch swinging is Olsen. In foul territory is Sheeler for out number 1. Morrissey still on the mound. We have a new catcher, though, as Kyle Avellino comes in to spell Colbert. Here's Rothwarg. His third at bat. Bouncer to the left side. Couple of pitches and a couple of outs. 2 up, 2 down. We're back to the top of the order here.
Now batting number 11, Harada Hauser.
Terada Herzer struggled here in game number 2. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. 1 looking in the 3rd, swinging in the 5th. Morrissey has 8 strikeouts. He's ahead here, 1 ball and 2 strikes. That ball popped up in the foul territory. Plenty of room here, Clothier. And they need almost every inch. That's a quick one here in the bottom of the 7th. 3 up, 3 down. We have played 7, and we are tied at 3. Moving to the top of the 8th. Another pitcher in for Swarthmore. This is number 6, Alex Rimmerman. 1-2 on the year. This is appearance number 7 with an 11.57 ERA. He will face numbers 3, 4, and 5. Starts with Sheeler. This is pitcher number 6 here in game number 2. When Coach said he's going to piecemeal together game number 2, he meant it. That pitch misses in a 3-0 count. In the 6th inning, Washington College plated its first runner. He scored. In the 7th inning, they plated their first runner, and he scored. So here in the 8th on a 3-1 count, that one comes straight back, and we are full. The 3-2. This one hit to left field. Some room there for Burgess, and that is a big out number 1 in the 8th. Coming back from 3-0 to a fly out in left field. Here's number 8, Brandon Hoffman. He came in to spell Max Ruvo early in the game. He's 1 for 2. Fastball outside. Such a great lookout in left field. All the fans kind of hanging on to the top of the left field fence. Right above the Garnet sign. It's real nice. As you look at this field, about 319 towards the lines in left and right. Got that 339 out in left center field. In right center field, about 377 to the wall. That's strike number 2. Three balls and 2 strikes to Hoffman. Just misses inside there. And a 1-out base runner.
Now batting number 13, Joe Curtin.
So Hoffman doing a nice job. Has reached 2 out of the 3 times in relief of Ruvo. And here's Curtin, number 13. Curtin 2 for 3 today in game number 2. McGill has a couple of hits in game number 2. Curtin with a couple of hits. This one diving, knocked down by Jabara, but into center field it goes. Even if he had gotten to that, I'm not sure it would have
Now batting number 5,
picked up any kind of an out. Hoffman gets into second base. Curtin with a single. Go-ahead run in scoring position here in the top of the 8th for Washington College. Shoreman playing without their skipper. As Coach Beddick was tossed early in this game. This is Jack Kingman. Kingman has a single in the 2nd inning. Grounded into that double play to end the 6th. At the time, that was the biggest play of game number 2 for Swarthmore, defensively at least. The 1-1. The 1-2, that one's ripped up the middle. Around third, here comes a throw home. It's cut off. And the go-ahead run for Washington College on the single from Kingman. Hoffman comes all the way across.
now batting number 4, Eric Olsen.
This makes it a 4-3 ball game. So after trailing 3-0, Washington College has clawed its way back. A couple of runs in the 6th, one in the 7th, another one here in the 8th, and they still have runners at first and second with just this one out. Rizenchuk ducked on that one. It looks like it almost got part of the plate. Got ourselves a 1-1 count. Runners at first and second. Fastball high. Swarthmore trying to stop the damage here. That evens up the count. They got to have a couple of jams in the first and second innings. Washington College had a couple of hits in inning number 1, a couple of hits in inning number 2. But there's been 2 double plays today, and that first double play in the first inning really stopped what could have been a big inning for Washington College. And it kept them at bay until these last few innings. So Rizenchuk strikes out swinging, and that is a big out, number 2. And here's Gilmer. Gilmer officially 0 for 2. He did walk in the 5th inning. Washington College looking for some insurance here. Up 1 run, taking their first lead in game number 2. They did it in this inning when Hoffman crossed home plate. Now Gilmer in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes. We have Abellino on deck looking for his first at bat this afternoon. He did come in defensively in game number 1. The 0-2. Right back at the pitcher. Scooped up. It hit off the hand of Rimmerman, but into the glove of Jabbar over to Rothwar for out number 3. Still a run comes across in the top of the 8th for the first time here in game number 2. Swarthmore playing from behind. It's 4-3. We're back, bottom of the 8th. Swarthmore looking for some magic here, trailing now 4-3. They led 3-0 after putting up 2 runs in the second inning. Another run in the 5th. But they've watched Washington College kind of just claw back and claw back. The Shoremen with 2 runs in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th for the 4-3 lead. We see Mutz, Burgess, and Seppi. It's a long day, a lot of baseball, 18 innings worth, assuming we don't see extras. It's unusual. I wouldn't say unusual, but a lot of times in college baseball, even at the Division I level, if you're playing 2, a lot of times these schools will play 7 and 9. They'll play 7 innings in the first game, 9 in the second. It is something the Centennial has done in the past. It's been a while, but a long time ago they played 2 7s. Then they moved to a 7-inning and a 9-inning game, which you'll see in a lot of conferences, even something out of like the Patriot League, let's say, that league has Lafayette and Navy and Army, Bucknell, Lehigh. They'll play 7 in the first inning, 7 in the first game, 9 in the second game when they play doubleheaders. But we're going 9 and 9 as Luke Mutz takes a big swing and a miss, but ends up at first base. I guess there was the question, did he foul tip that ball? I think is what Washington College is asking, but he had no part of that ball. It went straight to the backstop. So as a result, a strikeout for Mutz, but he does get to first on the wild pitch. Tying run is aboard with nobody out. Here's Burgess. We'll see what kind of chess match they want to play. That one bounces in. 1 ball, 1 strike. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it's worth mentioning again and again that Mutz leads this team with 14 steals coming into today. They don't think he's going to bunt. You have Curtin way back at third. You would think Curtin might be up on the grass. He's now even with the bag at third. Middle infield playing double play depth. That ball is tight. 2 balls and 1 strike. Coach Booth giving his signs down at third base. This one hit high. Shallow left field into foul territory. And in foul territory it goes. Gilmer making a great effort to get all the way over there. It's one of those areas where the third baseman can't get it. He has to go straight back. Hoffman in left field has way too far to run from left field, so Gilmer circles back behind the third baseman, but unable to pick up that ball. If he had made it, that would have been an incredible catch, and you had Rizenchuk covering second to make sure that Mutz didn't tag in advance. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2. And they get him. Called third strike on the inside part of the plate. Burgess can't believe it, but he heads back to the dugout. Surprised that that was dropped by Avellino. A lot of times if you have a borderline call, it's dropped by the catcher. They give the benefit of the doubt to the hitter. Didn't see it there. So now 1 out. Ball goes right through Avellino's legs into the backstop. So when it's all said and done, instead of sacrificing him over like I thought they might do, Burgess strikes out. But the very next pitch is a pass ball. And Mutz is now on second base with a tying run in scoring position for Seppi. Fastball high. Seppi looking for hit number 1 here in game number 2. It's 9 strikeouts for Morrissey. I don't have a pitch count on Morrissey, but you have to think he's getting to that point. We are into the 8th. A lot of deep counts, not a ton of walks, but you know, he's still a freshman. I think it's something that's worth mentioning. He's a workhorse up there, but doesn't look like a freshman. That fastball catches the inside part of the plate. Fastball still, he's locating it great. Actually, I look at the official scoreboard. It looks like he has 10 strikeouts and the 2 walks. That ball hit hard to left field. Tailing and fair by a couple of feet. Coming home, we got to play at the plate. Under the tag, safe at home as the throw was a little bit high, and we have ourselves a tie ball game. A clutch double down the line in left field for Seppi. Mutt's unsure at first if that might be caught, so he's not running on contact. But the kid's got wheels, comes around third, Booth waves him home. And the throw home just a little bit high. He gets under the tag, and we are now tied at 4. And now it looks like we're going to say goodbye to the freshman, who has really had a nice day. And we have a pitching change here in the bottom of the 8th. A tie ball game. Morrissey gets an ovation from the Washington College crowd, well deserved. A new pitcher on the mound and a new ball game. We'll come back with that new pitcher right after this.
Batting third line at number 23, Matt Silvestri.
So here's Matt Silvestri against a new pitcher, Mike Roseman. Number 19 is a senior from Maplewood, New Jersey. And they're going to intentionally walk Silvestri to pick up the force play and bring up Jabara.
And number 14, Nate Jabara.
Roseman, his 10th appearance this season. He is 1-1 with an ERA of 9.45. Seppi at second, Silvestri at first, Jabara up. They've been looking at all sorts of heat all day long here in game number 2 from Morrissey. The go-ahead run at second base. That one just misses. Jabara on the front arm. That one right at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike. Swarthmore has tied it up with a double from Seppi. And they're looking to take the lead here. A lead they had most of the game that they gave up just an inning ago. We have timeout from number 14. This one hit pretty deep to center field. Caught and into third he goes as Seppi advances on the fly ball to center.
Now batting number 1, Paul Cook.
So now runners at first and third. Go ahead run just 90 feet away, but 2 outs now. First pitch popped up and foul for Cook. Cook has a chance to be a hero twice in this game. Picked up a 2-run shot in the second inning. This one inside. Nice job by Avellino to knock it down. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cook. Officially in this game 1 for 3. The home run went over the right field fence. Fastball just low. To my left, everybody claps. To my right, everybody boos. 2 balls and 1 strike. Big moment here with the runner at third, the go-ahead runner at third. Another pitch inside Avellino once again. The freshman playing some good defense behind the dish. If Cook gets on, we'll see Olsen. 3-1, high for a ball. And now the bases are loaded, nowhere to put them.
Now batting number 5, Andrew Olsen.
Seppi stands at third. Silvestri stands at second. Cook at first. Remember, they gave Silvestri the intentional walk. Leaving them little error here. Now that they've walked Cook, it leaves them no room for error. As Olsen, who also hit a home run today, is now in. So we had Cook hit a home run from the 7th spot. We had Olsen hit a home run from the 8th spot. So the 2 guys that have gone long here in game number 2. Again, making life difficult for Washington College. Not even to count it, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball on the outside half of the plate. Olsen now has to play a little bit of defense here. The 1-2, swing and a miss. And the Shoremen get out of the jam. 1 run does come across to tie it up. We now move to the 9th inning in a 4-4 ball game. Welcome back to the top of the ninth. Matt Fine on the Garnet Sports Network. We got a tight one here, 4-4. Rimmerman still on the mound for the Garnet. And he'll face 9-1-2. It starts with the catcher in Avellino. Avellino has seen some defensive play today, but now he gets a shot at the plate. The freshman catcher from Ballackinwood, Harriton High School. Just his third at-bat this season. Does have a hit. Officially 1 for 2. And the fastball just misses. 3 balls and no strikes. Not what you want to do. Walk a freshman catcher who's just coming in with 2 at-bats on the year. And that's exactly what happens. 4 pitches, 4 balls to the number 9 hitter. And now we go back to the top of the order. Here's Cale McGill. Now you might think they would sub out for a pinch runner, Avellino, to put some speed at first base, but Washington College is hurting with some of their catchers thanks to injuries and whatnot, so they can't afford to take Avellino out. First pitch, and they catch him right on the arm, or on the wrist, really. And now they're bringing him back. I was wondering if they might do that. And we're going to have a discussion about this. I think they're going to say, did it hit his hand as part of the bat? Now, we've already had one coach thrown out from Washington College. Beddick was thrown out a couple of hours ago. So now they have to decide what they're doing here. So he gets back into the batter's box. So a painful strike. Avellino comes back to first base. They get the signs from third base on an 0-1 count. Fortunate turn of events for Swarthmore, honestly, there. You could easily have first and second right now. And that one's outside for a ball. Here comes the 1-1. This one hit deep to center field. Playable. And brought down by Terada Herzer. Good trade there for Swarthmore. Instead of first and second with nobody out, Avellino goes back to first. So 1 out now. And here's Baker. Swarthmore trying to put itself in a position to walk this one off in the bottom of the ninth. We're at 4-4. The 1-0, fastball outside. So this is inning number 18 this afternoon. I have to wonder if we'll see inning number 19 in a 4-4 ball game. 4 runs, 11 hits, no errors for Washington College, and 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors for Swarthmore. We'll have a talk on the mound. Gives me a chance to give you an update on some scores around the Centennial. Everyone in late game number 2. In the top of the 7th, Franklin and Marshall is doubling up McDaniel 8-4. Haverford all over Dickinson 10-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Gettysburg by 1 over Muhlenberg. That's in the top of the 8th. It's 9-8. And we have our 4-4 game here. Three balls and no strikes to Baker. And that one misses wide. So now runners at first and second. Go ahead run in scoring position for the Shoremen. Couple of walks in this inning. It looks like we might have a pitching change. So a pinch runner coming in at second base, and it looks like we might have a new pitcher. We do. So we'll take a quick break with runners on first and second in a 4-4 game with 1 out in the top of the 9th. We're coming back with a new arm for Coach Midkiff when we come back. Rohan Chirikuri stands in, trying to keep this game tied at 4. Runners at first and second. The sophomore from Virginia. With his first pitch to Sheeler. We have Ben Ruvo, by the way, a pinch runner at second base for Avellino. So Washington College will need to find another catcher as they're burning through their catchers. Fastball inside for a strike. I want to mention the Ruvo brothers. There's actually 3 Ruvo children on this team. We have Max and Ben. They also have a sister who is in charge of all the social media that this team does. So 3 Ruvos running around the Washington College dugout on any given day. And that one's a strike as well. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runners at first and second. The go-ahead runs at second base. That one's fouled away. We have Hoffman on deck. Here comes the 1-2. Bounced in there, blocked nicely. And that one also caught the umpire, so we'll have a stop here for a second. Surprised we don't see Olsen walk out to the mound to give the umpire a breather. Looks like he caught one right on the leg. Fortunate, actually, for Swarthmore that he did get caught in the leg. That anything to the backstop easily would have brought Ruvo to third. And with just one out, that would have changed the dynamic of this at bat. I wonder if Olsen got crossed up there a little bit. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Seven iron, foul. When you have a senior-laden team, this is the kind of game that Washington College probably should feel good about. Experience, late in the game, a game they really need after losing game 1. See if they come through here on a 2-2. Other way it goes. This will score a run. The go-ahead run comes in as Sheeler slaps one to the left side. Ruvo around third for a 5-4 lead in favor of the Shoremen. So Baker now stands at second, Sheeler at first, and here is Hoffman, still 1 out. So we do know one thing, when Swarthmore comes to the plate in the bottom of the 9th, they're going to need some offense, and they have 3 outs to do it. Twelve hits now for the visitors. The 0-1 overthrew that one a little bit. Lucky it didn't hit Hoffman in the foot or leg. That might hurt a little bit, but that would be a fortuitous bounce for the Shoremen because it would load the bases still with this 1 out. Here comes your 1-1. Swing and a miss. Looks like he got a little bit of a piece of that one. So a foul tip into the dirt. And Hoffman falls behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here comes the 1-2. This one's going to get through. Another run's going to come in past a diving Rothwarg into left field. Number 21 crosses the plate. And Baker, as he crosses the plate, makes it a 6-4 ball game on the single by Hoffman. And these balls they're not being hit that hard. They're just finding their way past the infielders, mainly on the left side, at least in this inning. So a couple of runs come in. It's now 6-4 with Joe Curtin up. Number 13 is having a day, 3 for 4. First pitch swinging. Shallow center field. An excellent play. A fabulous play by Nate Jabara. After he made the catch, he tossed it to the center fielder in Tarada Herzer in an effort not to allow the runner at second base to tag up in Sheeler. And that's probably the best defensive play we've seen today. That is a difficult ball that Jabara, running with his back to it, over the shoulder, ran a good 40 feet or so for out number 2. Here comes Kingman. Number 5 with a couple of singles, 2 for 4 officially in the DH spot. Man, I saw Cook coming in, Tarada Herzer coming in on that one. Jabbar in shallow right center field. And we have another stoppage here and another pitching change. Coach Midkiff not messing around. On a 2-0 count, we're going to bring in another pitcher. We'll take a break with a new arm coming right back. 6-4 now in favor of Washington College. Welcome back to something you don't see too often. Here's Casey Jordan, number 10, pitching in both games today. He was in game number 1 as well, only pitched a third of an inning and picked up a strikeout. But he's back on the mound in game number 2. He actually won game number 1. And if he could get an out here, and Swarthmore would come back and win this game in the bottom of the 9th, he would be the pitcher of record as well for the win. How often does that happen? So the count goes 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kingman. Runners at first and second. The 2 spot here in the top of the 9th for Washington College has given the Shoremen a 6-4 lead. And there's a swing and the miss. So Jordan comes in, pitches to one batter in the first game, gets a strikeout, pitches to one batter in the second game, gets a strikeout, and we move to the bottom of the 9th. The Garnet have some work to do. Down 2, we'll see 9, 1, and 2 come into the plate. Bottom 9 when we come back. Welcome back to the bottom of the ninth. Number 12, Alex Martin on the hill for Washington College. Looking for the save. Martin is a freshman from Yardley. And I mentioned how Jordan was pitching on both ends of this doubleheader. Martin is as well. He pitched 1/3 of an inning, and he gave up 3 earned runs. And here on the first batter, he plunks Rothwarg. Rothwarg has found a lot of different ways to get on base today. And here he gets hit by a pitch to lead off the ninth. So we go back to the top of the order with Terada Herzer. The tying run now at the plate. That's a fastball for a strike. 6 runs, 13 hits for the visitors. 4 runs, 5 hits for Swarthmore. Both teams playing clean in the field, no errors between the two of them. Colton Roberts, by the way, in to catch. Another freshman catcher, number 37. Quick meeting on the mound, making sure we're not crossing up our signals here. 1 ball, 1 strike. Obviously a huge at bat here for Terada Herzer, because you have Mutz on deck, who's been almost impossible to get out so far today. That's a pitch for a strike. Now, if you're Rothwarg, you got to be careful over there. He's had a bit of a difficult time sometimes on the base pass this week. But he's a real important one as that ball is laced into center field past a diving Rizenchak. And now runners at first and second. Nobody out. And Luke Mutz steps in. That was almost an outstanding catch by the second baseman, but that ball just hit too hard by Terada Herzer. Tying run now at first base. The corners are up, looking for a possible bunt to move both those runners into scoring position. I can see where they think you might do that, but at the same time, Mutz is swinging such a hot bat. And I don't know if you want to give up an out with a guy who's been hitting the ball like he has. The middle of the infield playing for double play. But Sheeler and Curtin right on the edge of the grass. Now with a 2-0 count. I might show bunt here, but there's no way I'm laying one down right now. Burgess on deck. It's a good pitch, one that kind of just tailed off. 2 balls and 1 strike. Coach Booth giving the signals at third. Best case is Mutz picks up a single, but at minimum he's got to move those runners in the scoring position. And he won't. Over to third for 1 out. Safe at first. So a fielder's choice as that ball is off the end of the bat, right to Curtin. So Rothwarg is out at third. It moves up Terada Herzer to second. And Mutz now stands at first with the fielder's choice. 5 unassisted. And here's Burgess. That's a big, big out for Washington College. Burgess has had a tough time with the strike zone here in game number 2. Struck out swinging in the 5th, looking in the 8th. He's been crossed up a little bit. Unsure about the strike zone as that ball's in the dirt. We'll see Seppi after Burgess. Again, Burgess 0 for 4 here in game 2. Very unusual to see number 2 0 for anything. So an opportunity here to change all that. Runners going down the 3rd. Almost like a pump over to 2nd and then a throw down the 3rd. Really no chance to get either. So runners now in scoring position, 2 of them. And a 2-1 count to Burgess. He's got a chance to tie this up with a hit to the outfield. Somewhere in right center would be perfect. And there's a ball, number 3. So 3-1. He's got the count in his favor. Again, the tying run at second base. You got the runner at 3rd as well. Mutz has wheels from 2nd. That one's beat into the ground, 3-2. The 3-2 count. Oh, fouled away. That went in tight. That was ball number 4. You've got to be careful. Right off the hands. Close to the hands. So we'll do that again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Right off the handle. Again, a ball to the right side brings in a run. But they need 2. This one will find a hole. 1 run comes in. Booth not taking any chances with the runner at second base in Mutz. But in to score Tirada Herzer. This makes it a 6-5 ball game. Burgess with an RBI single. He needed that hit in a bad way. And now the tying run is 90 feet away with less than 2 outs. So Mike Seppi has one job, and one job only, is to get that runner in. And Coach Booth wants to talk to him. Remember, in the game of baseball with 1 out, when you're on second base, there's only 1 way to score. But when you're at third base, there's 6 ways to score. An error, a balk, pass ball, wild pitch, a hit, all sorts of different ways to get somebody in. I don't think we're looking at a pitching change here. I think we're looking at some strategy on the mound. Mutz stands at 3rd. The go-ahead run. Burgess now at 1st. Excuse me, Mutz stands at 3rd. The tying run. Burgess is at 1st. The go-ahead run for Seppi. Seppi does have 1 hit this afternoon in game number 2. Came in his last at bat, a double. One out with a lefty up. If he can pull this ball to the right side of the infield, that would give Mutz a chance. Runner goes. Fake down to second base. That takes the force off. You knew at no point were they throwing down the second. So that is a good situation, a good turn of events for Swarthmore, because it takes the force play off. The pitch was a ball, and now they're going to walk intentionally Seppi. So the bases are loaded. This brings up Silvestri. Nowhere to put him. You know, the walk puts a force play on all 4 bases, but now with Silvestri up there is absolutely nowhere to put him. In case you're wondering, Silvestri has 1 home run on the year. Takes a pitch inside for a ball. If he gets plunked, that's another one of the 6 or 7 different ways a runner from third can score. That pitch just misses. Now we're paying all sorts of attention to Mutz at third, but remember the game-winning run, the walk-off is at second with Burgess. Booth yelling out instructions to Burgess at second. That one fouled away. The only runner that means absolutely nothing in this game, at least right now, is Seppi at first. Two balls, one strike. Fastball finds the outer half of the plate. And now Silvestri just needs to make contact. It's got to go the opposite way. You do have Sheeler pinching in at first base. A pitch in the dirt. Nice block by Roberts behind the plate. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Conference play. This is what you wanted. Could have asked for a better game number 2. Actually, both games today, outstanding. Back and forth all afternoon long. The 3-2. Down the right side. Caught and tagging and scoring the tying run. That got the job done. Was the most exciting play in the world, but when Baker caught that ball, it allowed Mutz to tag from second or from third and score. You had Burgess tag from second. He moved to third. And Seppi is at second base on the throw as well. So quality at bat for Silvestri. 2 outs. A 6-6 ball game. And Jabbar has a chance to be a hero. The walk-off is 90 feet away right now. The 1-0 fouled away. I can't help but think Baker has to catch that ball if he can, because you got to get the out. But does he let that drop? Then the tying run does not score from third, and you take your chances on the batter that was up, which was Silvestri. We'll never know, though, of course. On the 1-1, lifted to right center field. Coming over from center field, McGill makes the catch. And that will do it for Swarthmore here in the bottom of the 9th, but they put up 2. And we're heading to extra innings. After 9, we have a 6-6 ball game. We are back with a new pitcher on the mound, top of the 10th inning. This is Jet Shu, number 37, from Charlottesville, Virginia. Shu, a 4.82 ERA, 2-0 on the year. Facing Rizenchak, we'll see 7, 8, and 9. Rizenchak stays alive. As if 18 innings was not enough today, we're heading to the 19th inning of baseball this afternoon. Rizenchak 0 for 2 officially. Takes a little bit off that one for a ball. Starting to see some shade or shadows falling over Clothier. This one's going to find the outfield past a diving Jabara into shallow center. Jabara playing to his left a little bit too far. Rangers to his right, but unable to get there, and a leadoff base runner. Here's number 7, C.J. Gilmer. Whips that ball down the first. Got to be careful if that ball goes into right field. All sorts of real estate down there. See if Gilmer shows bunt again. This one in the dirt. He gets ahead 2 balls and no strikes. Ball number 3. By the way, softball today for Swarthmore, a sweep over Franklin Marshall, 4-1 in game number 1, 10-0 in game number 2. And moves to count to 3 balls and 1 strike. Pitch just misses outside for a ball, so we have a couple of base runners here to start the top of the 10th. A single and a walk.
Now batting number 39, Nick Miller.
Number 39, Nick Miller. Going to guess that I need to correct myself. Last inning, I think I had Roberts in a catcher. Believing it was 37, but with the uniform that they have on, the chest pad they have on, I think it was 39 that was in there the entire time, Nick Miller. As he's batting in the catcher spot here. Miller, 5'8", a freshman from Langhorne, went to Neshaminy. Shows bunt. Nice bunt. This will move the runners. They do get the out. Officially 1-4 on the putout. But Miller does his job as we go back to the top of the order. Now runners at second and third. We got Gilmer at second. We got Rizenchak at third. And McGill is up with a chance to be the hero. And looks like we have another pitcher coming in. Another break here in the top of the 10th. We'll come right back in a 6-6 ball game. We are back here in the top of the 10th. Matt Fine with you on the Garnet Sports Network, and another pitcher, Jeremy Jensen. Jensen, a freshman right-handed pitcher, 6'2", from Washington, D.C. A 15.19 ERA, his fifth appearance this season. And he's in a tight spot in a 6-6 ball game. One out, runners at second and third. And he's got the top of the order to deal with. First pitch swinging. Coming in, Tirada Herzer. The throw home. Out at home. A double play. The Shoremen cannot believe it. They're in disbelief. With the out at center field. Someone else has been thrown out. Not quite sure who. With the out at center field. Herzer throws it in. One of the infielders didn't quite catch whether it was which middle infielder it was, but the throw home to Olsen, so it turns into a double play. Again, the home plate umpire has thrown somebody out. I'm not quite sure who it was, but when it's all said and done, we now move to the bottom of the 10th, still a 6-6 ball game. We'll take a break with a new pitcher on the mound for Washington College. Swarthmore once again has a chance to walk it off. Welcome back. Bottom of the 10th inning, if you can believe it, here at Clothier. Officially, by the way, that play, the double play, you had the out on the catch from Tirada Herzer. He threw into the shortstop, so that went from Tirada Herzer to Ruffwarg over to Olsen. 8-6-2 on the putout. So a double play as Rizenchak was tagged out at home. So in the bottom of the 10th now, we have Ethan Kyle on the mound, number 30 for Washington College. He is a senior, Manheim Township. And that is strike number 1 to number 1. This is Paul Cook. Lays one down, over to first, and safe at first as the ball is juggled, and a leadoff base runner. So the winning run is on. In steps number 5, Andrew Olsen. Do they swing away? Do they try to push into second? We'll see what Midkiff wants to do here. Shows bunt, way outside. Again, I believe that is Miller behind the dish right now for Washington College. Bunts again, popped up, and over to first, and out at first. An unbelievable play. Ethan Kyle slipped, was able to get up on the bunt that was not laid down by Olsen. Instead, it was popped up. And you had Cook too far off first base, tries to get back, but he is doubled up at first on the flip from Kyle. One pitch ago, there was a runner at first, nobody out. Now nobody on and 2 outs. So 1 on the putout, then 1-3 on the double play. And start with Olsen, who popped up the bunt, needed to get that down. Instead, and it almost fell. Kyle falling off the mound was able to get that out of the air. And here's Ruffwarg. If we do head to the 11th, we'll see numbers 2, 3, and 4 for Washington College. This one looped into right field. Coming in, making the catch, Baker for out number 3. Washington College pumped up as they get out of the bottom half of the 10th. We have played 10 now. We're still at 6-6. We're back top of the 11th inning. You know it's been a long ball game when they erase the scoreboard and start again. This is Henry Butterfield III.
Yo, Steve, could you come out to the field? Are they coming down? Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Jeremy Jensen still on the mound, by the way, for the Garnet. Butterfield pinch hitting for Baker in the 2 spot. Pops one up. Right at the line. Nice play by the shortstop for out number 1. My scorecard is an absolute mess, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. Number 25, Logan Yee is in now. He's batting for Sheeler in the 3 spot. He is sophomore from Virginia. Hitless on the year in 6 at-bats. Bouncer to the shortstop. Couple of plays by Rothwarg at short, and that's 2 outs.
Now batting number 8, Brandon Hoffman.
Here's number 8, Brandon Hoffman. 2 away. All the games, by the way, in the Centennial are now final. In game number 2, Franklin Marshall over McDaniel 8-7. Haverford beats Dickinson 11-4. Gettysburg by 1 over Muhlenberg 9-8. And your Sinus splits with Hopkins. Your Sinus comes in with a win in game number 2, 3-2. That's probably the biggest surprise so far today. The only game still playing right here at Clothier. And pitch misses. We're now 3-0 to Hoffman. Fastball high.
Now batting number 13, Joe Curtin.
Joe Curtin in the 5-hole steps in now. A go-ahead run on base at first, but 2 outs. Curtin does have 7 doubles on the year. No homers, no triples. Jensen, by the way, the 10th pitcher for Swarthmore today. I thought I'd never see more than the 9 they had on Tuesday against Arcadia. Here we go, 10. The 0-1. Into the ground it goes. No balls and 2 strikes. Swarthmore looking to get out of this one and have yet another opportunity to walk off in the 11th. Good defensive swing by Curtin just to stay alive. The 0-2. Bounced over the second baseman. 4-6 on the putout. So Washington College comes up empty in the top of the 11th. Swarthmore coming to bat in the bottom of the 11th. Another chance to walk it off. We're coming right back on the Garnet Sports Network.
Batting for the Garden, number 11, Carrington.
We're back, bottom of the 11th. Number 14 is in pitching. Isaiah Santiago, a sophomore from Canadensis, Pennsylvania, up in the Poconos. Atop the Poconos. His 5th appearance. 0-1 on the year with a 3.97 ERA, and he's got the top of the order, Tirada Herzer. We are into inning number 20 this afternoon, which has quickly become this evening. If you've ever wondered why college teams have so many pitchers on their roster, well, now you know. 10 pitchers for Swarthmore. Got 5 for Washington College. And a leadoff walk to number 11.
Now batting, number 7, Luke Mutz.
Here comes Luke Mutz. I feel like we've seen this before. It's well, deja vu all over again. Let's see if they have Mutz lay down a bunt here. The crowd loves Mutz's walk-up song, by the way. Swinging away, and it goes the other way with a single. And now runners at first and second, nobody out.
Now batting number 2, Austin Burgess.
And here's Austin Burgess. And I'll ask the question again. Now with runners at first and second, nobody out. What's the play? Does Burgess lay down a bunt, try to get everybody into scoring position? Remember, the walk-off runner is now in scoring position at second base, and Terada Herzer. They're pinching up at first base right now and at third, both on the edge of the grass. So corners up, middle of the infield back. Shows bunt, pulls back.
I've been told it's both a ball and a ball, but that'd be weird. Like, I think if no one's on base, it's a ball.
It's Yee at first, now pushing up at least 5 or 6 feet onto the grass. He's really only about 60 feet away from home plate right now. One ball, one strike. Burgess with a chance to be the hero here if he swings away. 1-1. He does swing away in the foul territory, back and out of play.
Yeah, I've been told it's a ball and a ball. I think it's just a ball.
One ball, two strikes. Burgess has to get these runners moved over at least Terada Herzer from second to third to get the job done. The 1-2. This one in foul territory as well. It's picked up. Nice play by the first baseman in Yee. And that is out number one. So Washington College wins that battle. Like Seppi, 1 for 4. Santiago steps off. Not the biggest lead at second base from Terada Herzer. Big swing and a miss. The 0-1 in the dirt. One ball, one strike from the lefty. Fouled back. Outfield playing straight up. Be a bit down the line in right field. Infield playing straight up as well. And that hits him. But they're calling him out. They're saying that he leaned into that one. We've seen a lot of controversy here at home plate. They're saying Seppi leaned into that pitch, in which case he is out. It hit him on the top of the arm. Coach Midkiff wants to have a discussion. He's going to lose this one as well. So it'll be runners at first and second now with 2 outs. So here comes Silvestri. A couple of moments ago, we had first and second with nobody out. Now we have first and second with 2 outs. As we were on the verge of moving to the 12th inning. A pitch inside for a ball. Santiago with a lot of movement on his pitches. A lefty with a fastball that time, though. The 1-1 into the dirt, down the third. The ball gets away. Here comes the winning run on the throw down, and the game is over. Swarthmore doesn't need a hit. Instead, Terada Herzer trying to pick up third on a ball that gets away from the catcher. The throw down to third base gets away and into left field, and that will do it for this one. An odd way to walk off, but a walk-off win nonetheless. In the bottom of the 11th, the Garnet pick up the sweep to open up conference play. Your final 7-6. Looks like Swarthmore lining up to shake hands with Washington College, but Washington College is out in right field, so now Swarthmore will shake hands with themselves and move into left field. A doubleheader sweep for the home team. The Garnet moved to 2-0 in conference. Again, your final 7-6, 7 runs on 9 hits for the winners, 6 runs on 14 hits for the visitors. Washington College falling to 0-2 in the Centennial. Overall, 14-9 on the year. And this is just what the doctor ordered for Swarthmore, moving to 9-13 on the year, but most importantly, 2-0 in the Centennial. These teams will be back in action on Tuesday with a trip for Swarthmore. Or not a trip, they'll be home against Johns Hopkins in a home-and-home. They'll be home on Tuesday and then on the road on Friday. And that will do it for me on the Garnet Sports Network. Thank you for joining us. A marathon afternoon of baseball, but again, Swarthmore picks up a doubleheader win to open up the Centennial with a couple of W's over the Shoremen from Washington College. Have a wonderful Saturday evening, everyone, and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you here soon.